And good Tuesday morning. Welcome to episode 56 of the Inside Drive podcast. Excited to have a former guest, Coach Bradley Stanford. He's the owner-operator of Clutch Athletics in studio with us today. And of course, our phone guest today will be my good friend from growing up. That is Al Carl. You'll recognize that accent when he joins us at right around 11:30 here in the Central Time Zone. He's the director of venue operations for the Capital One Arena up there in the D.C. area, which is the home of the Washington Capitals. But before we get to everybody today, got to talk about the official juice of the Inside Drive podcast, that is Juice and Sunsets, where most people aren't getting the vitamins and nutrients their bodies truly need from everyday foods alone. Busy schedules, processed meals, and depleted soil make it harder than ever to fuel our bodies properly. Whether your body is undernourished, it can't perform at its best. Energy drops, immunity weakens, and inflammation creeps in. Fresh, nutrient-dense juices are simple, powerful ways to bridge that gap. They deliver essential vitamins, minerals, and antioxidants in a form your body can easily absorb, helping you feel better, think clearer, and make healthier choices one sip at a time. You can visit Juice and Sunsets on Facebook to learn more, or head over to juiceandsunsets.com to place your order for pickup or delivery. They'll deliver it right to your front door. I can say I love Juice and Sunsets. I have to get as much vitamins, minerals, juices, vegetables as I possibly can. And one of my favorite things is they have little ginger shots as well. I actually took one this morning. I don't have anything in studio with me today. I got to go re-up with Misty. But the ginger shots, they're very, very spicy. But man, they give you a nice little boost of energy, and they're just so good for your digestive system. And if you know your digestive system is the key to all of your health in your body, one way or the other. And then, of course, my good friend Alan Watson. Lots of really, really cool stuff as we get closer to Masters Week coming into his shop right now. But if you're looking to elevate your golf game with custom-fitted clubs and pro-level gear, step into Golf Plus, a golf retail and fitting destination with its roots stretching all the way back to its founding in Dothan, Alabama in 1988. At Golf Plus, the focus is simple: get you fitted right. They use industry-leading technology like the Foresight Game Changer 2 launch monitor in not one but two simulators. They have advanced shaft matching systems to dial in the perfect club for your swing. So whether it's a full set or just a retrofit of your current clubs, Golf Plus is not just about clubs. It's also a full-service shop, from expert grip repair and loft and lie adjustments to quality repairs and curated selection of top brands. You'll find everything you need to play your best. And now with its renovated shop right here in Panama City Beach, golfers and locals visiting the Gulf Coast alike can enjoy a premium fitting experience and apparel selection right next to the sandy beaches. Whether you're a beginner or seasoned player, Golf Plus delivers personalized service, cutting-edge technology, and gear you can trust. Book your custom fitting or stop by the shop today, because the right equipment can make all the difference out on the course. They're located in the shops of Edgewater next to Firefly. You can give them a call at 850-249-2726 or visit them online at golfplusretail.com. And of course, we got Coach Bradley Stanford. He's the owner-operator of Clutch Athletics in studio with today. We're going to talk about all the major exciting or not so exciting sports stories going on. Coach, tell us a little bit about Clutch Athletics.
Yeah, so Clutch Athletics is a youth strength and agility program. Just things that are going to get you, moving and going past your regular practices. If you want to, kind of step up to that next level, I know we have, I'm getting a little influx right now of some 8th graders now that basketball, soccer season is over, trying to get ready for those incoming high school camps that are happening over the summer. So if that's you, if that's your son or daughter, come see me. We will get that conditioning, that strength up a little bit, because when those high school coaches see you over the summer for the first time, it's probably not going to be with a ball. You're going to be working on conditioning. You're going to be working, in the weight room and on the track. And so get that leg up so you're not, dying out then. You'll be ready to go.
Absolutely. What's the best way to get in touch with you, and where can they find out more information?
Yeah, so you can find us on Facebook or Instagram, Clutch Athletics PC.
Awesome. Yep. Give yourself the opportunity to give your child that leg up. I love what you said about the 8th graders about to approach the 9th grade year, where they're going to be going to these interest meetings, going to the summer camps, all that good stuff. Make sure your child is in perfect shape. And, of course, they can drink some Juice and Sunsets as well to get that body right for all this training that you should be doing. Speaking of training, got to mention our American Charlie's Athlete of the Week sponsor. The Athlete of the Week is brought to you by American Charlie's Grill and Tavern, your go-to spot right here in Panama City Beach. Whether you're catching the games on one of their 15 TVs, grabbing legendary wings, burgers, or that home-style fried chicken, American Charlie's delivers every time. Don't miss their daily happy hour from 4 to 6 p.m. and their early Eagle menu with incredible deals. Plus, military and first responders always get discounts. Swing by the shops at Edgewater and tell them the Inside Drive sent you. This week's American Charlie's Athlete of the Week is Mosley freshman varsity baseball player, second baseman Brantley Davidson. This past week, he went 4 for 4 with 5 RBIs and 1 run scored in Mosley's 14-1 win against Silverdale Baptist Academy back on 3/19. So congratulations to Bradley Davidson. Just an epic performance there for a freshman. I'm sure you know.
Oh, yeah.
You know
Brantley, an old
as
student
well.
of mine. One thing I'll say about Brantley, not afraid to work. Put in that extra time. I love that kid. He's always got a great attitude. Always ready to work.
When you mentioned 2 things in that sentence right there, willing to work, great attitude. And I think those are 2 of the most important things if you've got a young athlete coming up right now. Always be the best one, working as hard as you can. And then obviously attitude is probably one of the first thing coaches certainly look at.
Absolutely.
Before we dive completely into it, I do want to start with a pretty cool story, or whatever you want to call it, from the Kansas City Royals. I'm sure y'all have seen this. We talked about Terrence Gore passing away not too long ago. Well, his son and family were able to go up to Kansas City for their opening game, where Zane threw out the first pitch in the Kansas City Royals home opener. So I did want to talk a little bit about some of the excitement that a lot of other big-time people and companies were talking about with Terrence Gore. From Barstool Sports, the Royals honored Terrence Gore in their first home game since he passed. His son Zane threw out a perfect first pitch. Isaac Collins Protector is just an Instagram account there. What a moment for Zane Gore. Almost brings a tear to my eye. On the other hand, he found the strike zone before Estevez, who was the starting pitcher in their opening game. And then Matt Stram said Zane with the rocket with a bunch of exclamation points. Eric Homer said Zane Gore, wow, what an incredible moment. MLB's account said Terrence Gore's family Terrence Gore's family was honored ahead of the Royals home opener, and his son Zane delivered the perfect first pitch. The son of late Terrence Gore threw out the first pitch. This is Talking Baseball. Zane Gore, the son of late Terrence Gore, threw out the first pitch at the Royals home opener and was honored in their first home game since his passing. He threw a perfect strike to his dad's 2015 World Series champion teammate Alex Gordon. A lot of other cool reactions that came out of this. And the Kansas City Royals fan page said, I've seen professional athletes throw out first pitches that were nowhere near close to home plate. And Zane Gore threw a dart from the actual mound. A lot of these celebrities get to move up when they throw the first pitch. What are your thoughts on that whole, obviously, a big tragedy, but there is definitely some positivity. Like Zane will never forget, obviously his wife Brittany as well will never forget this moment that Zane shared with the Royals and their family.
Yeah. First off, I've had the pleasure of working with Zane a little bit. Has come to Clutch Athletics, and what an amazing kid. He's another one that is always just excited for what's next. Like, I don't think I ever got him tired, no matter how much I tried.
Yep.
That kid he's an awesome presence for sure. But if you have not seen that video, he throws an absolute dart, and it is so
from
great.
The real mound.
Yeah,
which is crazy.
Yep, you know that Terrence smiled down on that one for
Absolutely.
sure. That was a really cool moment for the whole family. In tragedy, you have to be able to kind of find those bright spots to keep you moving, keep you going, and that was a really cool moment for that family that they will not forget for sure.
Absolutely. And kind of piggybacking on you talking about how good of an athlete Zane is, with the Junior Olympics for the small schools was this past Wednesday. I want to give a shout out to University Academy. They were first place in the small schools division and way ahead of the second place team. But I want to specifically talk about Zane, who ran both relays and just did an absolutely fantastic job. And in both of those relays, UA absolutely was really far ahead of the second place team. So keep your eye on Zane. I think he's going to, obviously tragedy, but Zane may become, the next big time athlete coming out of Bay County here. And I think that would be completely poetic justice. So Just wanted to mention how good of an athlete and, seen with firsthand with my eyes. I know he's a big time baseball player as well. So kind of pivoting from something very exciting and positive, something maybe exciting, but not too positive. I know a lot of you have already heard about the Tiger Woods DUI from this past week. and I did want to kind of give some updates on that. Tiger Woods' DUI police report was released. I believe that was today. Zaire Golf posted about it. Woods said he glanced at his phone when the car slowed down. Officers observed Woods as lethargic, slow, and sweating profusely. He had 2 white pills in his pocket. They were both hydrocodone. His eyes were bloodshot, glassy, and extremely dilated. And then kind of, again, I'm not trying to throw shade at Tiger Woods. I think we just need to address the elephant in the room at some point, because this is not a first-time incident. Going back to 2009, when kind of Tiger Woods' career really changed, in my opinion. November 27, 2009 was the day after Thanksgiving. Woods crashed into a fire hydrant and a tree in his Cadillac Escalade around 2:30 a.m. after leaving his house. Woods was not wearing his seatbelt, according to the police report, and sustained minor injuries, including facial lacerations. His then-wife, Elin Nordreggen, reportedly pulled him from the car. No charges were filed. The resulting scandal ended his marriage and became a tabloid fodder. He also went nearly 10 years before winning another major. 2017, he was arrested in Palm Beach Gardens, Florida. May 29, 2017, not long after a spinal fusion surgery, Woods was found passed out behind the wheel of his Mercedes-Benz on the side of the road around 3 a.m. in Palm Beach Gardens, Florida. The vehicle had 2 flat tires on the driver's side. He was arrested and charged with DUI, was found to have had prescription drugs in his system. He later pleaded guilty to reckless driving and agreed to a plea deal. His DUI charges were dropped, but the footage of the arrest on the road and his jail mugshot went viral. And of course, flash forward to 2001, a serious crash in California. This was one that he dodged, basically losing his life, because that crash was wicked.
Yes.
Woods was involved in a single car crash near Los Angeles while on his way to a photo shoot. His Genesis SUV went off the road at a curve and rolled several times, with Woods sustaining serious injuries requiring multiple surgeries on his lower right leg. Investigators did not seek a warrant for a blood test, saying there was no evidence of impairment or intoxication. No charges were filed, but also said Woods was driving between 84 and 87 miles an hour on a road with a speed limit of 45. Woods returned to golf 14 months later, but has played sparingly since, missing all of 2025 following an Achilles injury that required surgery. And then, of course, flash forward to a few days ago. On Friday, a new incident with DUI charges filed and a minimum 8-hour stay in jail resulted because of the crash there. With it, I know he refused. They did a breathalyzer and he had no alcohol in his system, but he refused the urine analysis, which basically shows that he had obviously knew he was on prescription medication. But when you refuse a test, that's an automatic charge of a DUI. And as I mentioned before, the other things that the police report came out there. Obviously, he's done a lot for the game of golf. He's done a lot for kids with his Tiger Woods Foundation as well. And we're not putting that behind anything. But obviously, there is a problem that I think most people in the golf world and the sports world would like him to address. Obviously, prescription medication is a horrible thing, and we were talking a little bit about before the show. What are your thoughts on Tiger? Where do you think he needs to go from here?
Yeah, I think it was one of the Barstool guys that tweeted, and they said something to the effect of, we always ask the question, like, when's he going to play? Will he play? And not enough times do we ask, like, is he okay?
Yeah.
And, from all of his past surgeries, all of his past injuries, whether it be sport related, training related, or, driving related, his body has gone through so much stuff. And it's almost inevitable that with the, opioid crisis and how everything is, that with all those surgeries, with all the pain medications he's been prescribed,
yep.
That for as long as he's been prescribed them, that it would possibly turn into some sort of an abuse and addiction kind of scenario. So,
well, it's such a common tale too. In our country, I guess. Yeah, an epidemic is the right word.
Yes.
It is certainly an epidemic. They're so addictive, and obviously, he's got everything he could possibly want. He's got billions of dollars. He's got a lot of philanthropic things that he's done. He's won 15 majors, 82 PGA Tour events. There's not a whole lot more he can do, but it just goes to show you anybody could get,
that's right,
could get into an opiate addiction, and you're not immune from it. It's especially if you're arguably one of the greatest golfers to ever play.
And so many, athletes, like they love that, they love that thrill or whatever. And so like in someone in his position, it's really easy for a lot of people. Like I know I have said it since this, I wish he would just hire a driver.
Yeah.
But some people, whether it's the control aspect, whether it's the go fast aspect, they enjoy that driving piece. But, when you have all the injuries, when you pretty much probably live your whole life on some sort of pain medications at this point, you have the means, like please hire a driver.
Yep. And he's publicly came out and said that he's not going to do that because he doesn't want somebody to know where he's going, which I don't really, you could read between those lines, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, hopefully Tiger gets it. He's one of the most iconic sports figures of all time. Transcended the world of golf, I think, more than anybody has ever done in history. I would put Arnold Palmer probably second on that because Arnold was kind of the people's champion, kind of brought a lot of fans into the game of golf. But what Tiger has done for not only the professional game of golf, when the purses we have today, that was solely because of him, and obviously the fitness in golf as well too. But just getting so many people into the game of golf, whether it's different races, kids, seniors. The game of golf has benefited so much from Tiger, and I think it's now that we need to take a step back and hopefully let Tiger do what he needs to do to get some help for sure. He's got 2 awesome kids. Let's not jeopardize that. And it's, again, I'm not trying to sit here and preach, but I guess I kind of am too. It's, he could have killed somebody very easily. Obviously could have killed himself as well, rolled his car a couple times. Mm-hmm. But that's every time he's going out there on the road, when he's using, he's putting other people's lives in jeopardy. And I 100%. Think hopefully somebody in his camp can get him going and moving in the right direction. I'd love to see him on the senior tour in the future for sure, because I know he's eligible for that now because he's over the age of 50. Going from a not so great moment in the world of golf to a really great moment in the world of golf, Gary Woodland got the win this past weekend in the Texas Children's Houston Open. He won the Texas Children's Open on Sunday, an emotional moment that seemed so improbable 30 months ago when he had brain surgery, and even 2 weeks ago when he opened up about his frightening struggles with post-traumatic stress syndrome or disorder. Woodland looked better than ever this past weekend at Memorial Park, taking a 1-shot lead into the final round and stretching it to 7 shots until coasting home to list the trophy that felt as big as his U.S. Open title at Pebble Beach back in 2019. He closed with a 367 to win by 5 shots over Nikolai Højgaard. The gallery paused, chanting his name so Woodley can roll in a 5-foot par putt. He stretched both of his arms, exhaled, and looked to the blue sky before tears began pouring. We play an individual sport out here, but I was not alone today, Woodland said, his voice quivering with emotion. Anyone struggling with something, I hope they see me and don't give up. Just keep fighting. Obviously, hopefully this story gets a lot more attention than it already has, because it is, if you watch the Full Swing, I believe it was the Full Swing documentary that had Gary Woodland on there talking about his struggles. His balance was off. He couldn't sleep. He had bad vertigo, all those things because of a tumor in his head that he's since had removed, and had to fight back and get himself back into golfing shape. And then for him to win a tournament that seemed so unlikely, I was so proud and happy for him. He does so much for the game of golf as well, with the Folds of Honor and all that stuff.
Oh, yeah.
And you probably remember that moment from the Waste Management Phoenix Open a couple years ago when he brought that famous little girl that had Down syndrome.
They're like best friends.
Yeah, they're best friends. He hit a great shot. He was with her the whole time, and then she made like a birdie putt. So just a good guy for the game of golf, and to see him win and obviously get his ticket back to the Masters was a pretty special moment this past Sunday. So really cool to see that from Gary Woodland. Good stuff there. Looking forward to the Masters coming up here in less than a week. Next Tuesday is Tuesday of Masters week. So good stuff there. And then, of course, we'd be remiss if we did not talk about NCAA March Madness and the crazy shot there by UConn. Braylon Mullins obviously hit that 35-foot shot against Duke. That's obviously one of the most iconic shots in tournament history. If you were Duke, what would you have done differently? Obviously, it's easy hindsight 2020, but situational awareness seems to be so important in the game of basketball.
Yeah, it's really interesting because, like, me being a Florida fan, I immediately compared the defensive strategies of us getting beat against Iowa and what I would have done. I understood Todd Golden's thing of trying to foul and get them so they couldn't shoot a three, but we were just too slow, and I would have half court pressed, met him at the half court line. The big thing with Duke and how obviously you full court press that if you're UConn because you're down.
Yep.
But it's like the golden rule: you don't leave your feet.
Yep.
You know, you're in no man's land when you leave your feet.
Or pick up your dribble.
And well, I think he had his dribble, right? He just caught the ball and like he turned to like hook shot it.
The guy before him dribbled once and then picked up his
Yep,
dribble.
exactly. But he caught it at that half court line, and you know you're in that triple threat position. So like, you know, you rotate and you look and you see where you're at. Obviously, it's happening quickly and you're double teamed. But they were trying to foul. So worst case scenario, you're on the free throw line.
Yep.
But the blind kind of hook shot over two people, it's kind of that cardinal sin is you don't leave your feet and have nowhere to go with the ball. And then they got a little tip on the ball. But man, it was the guy got the tip, got the steal, passed it, and then got the ball back and hit that shot. I mean, that is a moment that he is going to remember for the rest of his life.
A freshman, nonetheless, Braylon Mullins will go down in history, especially if UConn goes on to, you know, win another national championship. I think this is their third Final Four in, 3 years?
Yeah, and in a historic program, and there's so many of those moments with UConn and Duke in the tournament. And so he etched his name in that. It was incredible.
Some of the other all-time March Madness game-winning shots. Chris Jenkins, that was for Villanova in 2016, a trailing three-pointer at the buzzer to beat UNC 77-74 for a national title. That's why that one would probably go down as number one, because that shot was to win the national championship. And then, of course, probably the most famous one was not even in a championship game. It was just to advance to the Final Four. Christian Laettner, Duke from 1992, caught a full court pass, dribbled, and hit a double clutch turnaround jumper to beat Kentucky in the Elite Eight, as well as Jalen Suggs from Gonzaga in 2021 banked in a three-pointer from near half court in overtime to beat UCLA in the Final Four. I remember that one. That was absolutely insane. And then Lorenzo Charles back in 1983 for NC State. He had a thunderous dunk off a desperation air ball by Derek Wittenberg to beat Houston at the buzzer, another one for the national title. And then Kemba Walker for UConn back in 2011, an ankle-breaking step-back jumper against Pittsburgh in the Big East tournament, sparking a championship run. Obviously, that wasn't in the tournaments, but still an unbelievable game-winning shot there. And there have been a few from this particular tournament. Obviously, Braylon Mullins is the one we're talking about, but then, unfortunately, Coach, Alvaro Folgueras hit a corner three to knock out the defending champion. Your thoughts on, I think, what you said, that they could have done different for that one?
Yeah, like I understood, like Todd Golden after the, in the post-game press conference said that he knew that they were going to try to go for a three. So instead of trying to allow them to have the shot to either win or lose, he was trying to foul them. That's what he told them to do, foul them, have them go to the free throw line. Neither team had been hitting free throws that great coming down the stretch. So his hope was, you know, they go 50% and we still have a 1-point lead. I'm not going to question him a whole lot because he is, you know, a national championship coach, and I've just coached a few years of middle school. But if I'm in that situation, I half court press, meet them there, and keep them in front of me. You can still foul if you need to, but you're not. Like once they had that kind of pick and that little, you know, drag route down the sideline, if you will, you know, Thomas Houck had to push up on ball, which left the guy absolutely wide open in the corner. They get numbers, and so you have to make a decision. Where if you just keep them in front of you and play that half court press, I think we win the game. But I understand his kind of like thought process and what he was doing. But it shouldn't have came down to that anyway, because our free throws were abysmal during that game. I think we missed like 2 dunks during that game.
Well, that's usually the case as well. Like, obviously, it's one moment, and it's so defined because it's a moment that wins a game or loses a game. But there's a lot of things that happen during the course of that game that could have made it go one way or the other as well. And probably the other notable one from this year's is what ended up getting UNC head coach fired, because you got to win at UNC. But Terrence Hill Jr. from VCU hit a three-pointer in overtime to send UNC home earlier in the tournament. So that's the shot that I forget his name, got him let go or fired, whatever you want to call it.
Looks like my guy Billy Donovan's going to be back in the college realms, taking over for UNC. So
it's a great job. You got to win, and obviously he's got a fantastic track record of winning back-to-back national championships for your alumnus, Florida University. What do you think? We are down to the Final Four, which is pretty crazy. We're already here, but that signifies me knowing that next Monday during the national championship is when Masters Week starts, because it always goes hand in hand. Got two number 1 seeds and then a 2 and a 3 seed. Arizona and Michigan. What do you think about that matchup?
Man, Michigan looks so good right now. I mean, Arizona is doing everything they need to do right now to keep trucking along. But Michigan they just look like the strongest team right now, just from the eye test and watching as many games as I have. Not all the games, but
it'd be impressive if you've been able to watch all the games. That's for sure. And then on the other side, you got UConn, who obviously we just talked about them having that game-winning 3-pointer from 35 feet to advance to the Final Four. Will be taking on the Balkan brothers and the Fighting Illini from Illinois. What do you think about that game?
All I know about that game is I will be rooting for Illinois.
Me as well.
Because, man, I can't get behind that UConn coach. I'm just not a fan. Although they're proving that they deserved that other number 1 seed, not us. It was kind of between us two.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, I mean, I think a lot of Duke fans too were talking about them should have got a technical, which, you know.
Did you see him go nose to nose with the ref after the game? That was so weird.
They were just rubbing foreheads, I guess.
Yeah, I don't know what that was and why that was.
I think they have a history, but I mean, a lot of UConn players were on the court, but that's kind of expected. You just hit a ridiculous shot. And, you know, I'm sure they could have called a technical, but at the same time, it's kind of like not calling pass interference at the end of a national championship game, which has happened before. Yeah. Sometimes you just got to let it be what it is.
Exactly. That's not the time or place to make that call.
Because you will go down in history infamously if you make that particular call.
Yeah.
And of course, obviously, I want Illinois to win because if Illinois wins this game, I don't know if they have to go on to win the national championship. And I'm not just saying this because I'm in first right now, but the Inside Drive Podcast Tournament Challenge. Currently, I'm in first with 890, Lindsey Harrison in second, and then Brent Dillard in third, and then Reed Carroll in fourth. We all have different national championship picks, so I think whoever wins, I think if Arizona wins, Lindsey will probably bump up to first, and Brent will be there in second. If Michigan wins, I think Reed will bump up to first, and of course, if Illinois wins, I'll probably stay there in first. But I also have one of my good friends is a big Illinois fan, so I put a future on them when they were 14-1. So I'm rooting for them for two reasons. Obviously, I'd love to win the bracket challenge, but also want to win a future bet as well. So
I enjoyed a nice future bet last year.
Well, yeah. When did you place it?
I'm
just curious because
it was right before spring break.
Okay.
Because
so like right after they won the conference tournament.
Yeah, I think so because it was we were headed down to a cruise for spring break and it was during that time. Yeah.
Nice. Very cool.
Didn't catch it at the greatest of odds, but the odds were still okay.
I mean, anything probably over 10-1 is still really good odds when it comes to that. Mm-hmm. So. I want to talk a little bit about the NCAA baseball rankings, but first I want to talk about Gulf Coast men's and women's basketball teams. Their amazing seasons both came to an end. In the second round, the ladies lost to Trinity Valley Community College 71-68, and then the men's, as we know, we talked about it last week, they made it all the way to the Final Four of the JUCO Division I National Championship. They lost 82-70 to the College of Southern Idaho. But again, kudos to both programs for having such a great season, as they always have great seasons here. And as I encourage y'all to get out there next year and watch some of these Gulf Coast players, a lot of these players, they're going to be big-time players in Division I before we know it. So you have this great opportunity right here in our backyard to go out and watch some fantastic basketball.
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, living here, pretty much my whole life, going away for college a little bit, but the program just throughout all the sports, from baseball to both basketball programs, through multiple coaches, they just always sustain.
For sure.
And it's really cool that we have that right here, and something that we should take advantage of more.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and it just puts eyes on our area as well too. So it's not just obviously fantastic basketball programs, but it also brings people to our area. People are like, "Where's Gulf Coast State College?" And they look it up and they find out it's right here in Panama City. Yeah. So great stuff for the men and women over there at the Commodore facility. And kudos again to great seasons. I do like to talk a little bit about college baseball. We had some shakeups in the rankings over the past weekend, with some teams not having great series over the weekend, some teams having great series. So we'll go with UCLA, still number 1 at 25-2. The Texas Longhorns still number 2 at 23-4. Georgia Tech still at third at 22-5. Now some new players up there in the top 10. Mississippi State moved up from 6th to 4th with a 24-4 record. Georgia moved up from 7th to 5th with a 23-6 record. UNC moves all the way up from 13 to 8 with a 24-4 record. FSU cracks inside the top 10 now with a 21-6 record. They were ranked 10th last poll. Southern Miss, shout out to Coach Hale, 21-7. They've moved inside the top 10 from number 11 to number 8. The Oregon State Beavers have jumped up from 16 to number 9 with a 21-5 record. The Virginia Cavaliers have dropped back one position from 9 to 10 at 22-7 on their record. Oklahoma is 19-8. They dropped from the 8th seed back to the 11th seed. Southern California stays at number 12 with a 26-3 record. West Virginia was 17 going into this past week. Now they're up to 13 with a 19-5 record. The Coastal Carolina Chanticleers moved up one spot from 15 to 20-7. That's the whole reason I do this poll, is just to mention Coastal. I wore my baseball shirt today because Dr. Ward got this me from the national championship last year. That's neither here nor there. The Oregon Ducks have moved all the way up from 20 to 15 at 23-5. A new team to the poll. Again, shout out Coach Hale. They were not ranked last week. They're now ranked 16th, and they're 22-7. I believe they swept, or I don't know if they swept, but I think they won the series against Auburn this past weekend. And speaking of Auburn, they've dropped all the way down to 18 from number 5 after losing that series to Alabama, 20-7 on the season. Arkansas, number 17. They dropped from number 4 to number 17, the biggest faller in the poll this week. Arkansas Razorbacks are now 19-10 on the season. Only team so far inside in the poll with double-digit losses. And then Nebraska jumped up from 24 to 19 with a 22-6 record. Texas A&M jumped up from 25 to 20 with a 22-5 record. Florida is back in the poll again. They were not ranked this previous one. Now they're 23-6 and ranked 21. Boston College from the ACC was not ranked. They're now 22, 20-9 on the season. And then UCF is 18-8. They were not ranked. They are now 23 on the season. So a lot of new universities to the top 25 poll. Rounding out the top 25 poll, you got Kentucky at 21-6. They dropped from 19. And then Arizona State is 20-8. They dropped from 22. So just a little bit of moves there. Dropped out NC State, Ole Miss, Tennessee, and Notre Dame outside of that top 20 poll. I love college baseball. It's just so fun to watch. It's so intense. I love college softball too. It's so fast paced. This is a great time of year. If you have ESPN Plus or something like that, you can see the majority of these games on ESPN streaming services. But Florida back in the poll.
Yeah,
stuff there. How's Cooper and our local guys doing so far this season?
Yeah, I don't know. I haven't dove too far into the baseball season yet. Just with basketball, just wrapping up right now. Yep. I did see, we took it on the chin with Alabama and got swept, but then we completed the season sweep of Florida State with our midweek games. And if you know Kevin O'Sullivan and how he kind of goes after those midweek games, it is the get experience for your freshman pitchers kind of thing. Like, we're not throwing anyone. So to win those midweek games, especially early in the season, is really good for Florida.
And they add up.
Yeah, exactly. And then we had a nice series win. I don't think we swept, but I think we went 2-1 against Arkansas this weekend. So
which is a good one for sure.
Yeah.
Probably what got you back into the rankings.
Yes.
All right, real quick before we take a break and get our guest Al Carl on the phone, I do want to talk about Panhandle Credit Union. At Panhandle Credit Union, quality relationships are what they are all about. Whether it's donating to a community event, sponsoring your child's sports team, they are here in the community to help us out. Check out their great banking products, loans, savings accounts, checking accounts, mortgages. Whatever your banking needs are, Panhandle Credit Union can handle it. Visit any branch location or head online to panhandlecu.org. We're going to go ahead and take a quick break. When we get back, we'll be joined by Al Carl. He's the Director of Venue Operations for the Capital One Arena, the home of the Washington Capitals. We're going to talk a little about what he does and talk a little bit about not only the NHL, but the NCAA Frozen Four as well. You're listening to The Inside Drive, episode 56. We'll be right back. And welcome back, episode 56 of the Inside Drive podcast. Excited to be joined again by my good friend. He's the director of venue operations for Capital One Arena, the home of the Washington Capitals. That is my good friend Al Carl. Al, how are you doing today?
Ryan, happy to be back on the show, pal. How are things from your end?
Doing well, doing well. Excited to have you back on. Always enjoy chatting a little hockey with you. The last time you were on was during the Olympics. So I got to ask you, what are your thoughts on Team USA winning the gold in men's, women, and sled hockey? The first time a nation has won all three in a single year.
Yeah, and we're the defending world champions and all of it as well, Ryan. It is absolutely great. I still have Freebird stuck in my head. I wake up every morning and it was absolutely amazing. It was an absolutely fantastic game. Some dubbing, the greatest talent ever put on ice, especially the men's game and the women's game as well. The whole experience and the way things ended with 2 golden goals and then the sled team just completely dominating. It was absolutely fantastic. And I rarely jump out of my chair anymore when I'm watching sports. And my wife and I, when we were watching that afternoon, we both jumped out. And once I saw it was Jack, my smile, went even further for the men. He's a Jersey guy. Well, Jersey definitely plays in Jersey. He's a Michigan guy, but it's all irrelevant. We're all on the same team. So that was absolutely fantastic.
It was just such a great show that all the teams put on. And just obviously with everything going on in the world right now, I just thought a perfect time for USA to kind of just sweep everything. And some good runs, too, on the curling side as well. But always good
of course.
To get you can't forget about the curling, right? Just
I got into the Olympics as a whole. I did deep dives on all the sports, and it was just fun all around. We did some pretty spectacular things in other events as well.
Well, I just love nowadays that it's so easy to watch and know what's going on. Like literally, you can watch any sport that you want, whether it's live or a recap. Like you can just, if you have Peacock or whatever else that they did it on, just so easy to watch. And I love the Olympics because it's so many different things that just we don't see and deal with on a normal daily sports week for us. So anxious to get to the Summer Olympics here in the States here in a couple years. All right, Al, let's dive into it. What does a typical game day look like behind the scenes for you?
Oh, for me. Okay. So, so actually right now I'm in the middle of one as we speak. Actually, we are home tonight. The Capitals are home tonight against the Philadelphia Flyers in an absolutely huge game for both teams. Unfortunately, we are on somewhat life support at the moment, and the Capitals and the Flyers are borderline the hottest team in hockey right now, winning 8 and getting points in 9 of their last 10 games. I just saw in the standings. So, absolutely huge game here. They just got off the ice from their morning skate. And so we actually we had yesterday to come back. We actually had the NCAA tournament here. We had the Sweet 16, that whole Duke UConn thing. That was us. So we got to clean up after that and get things back to normal on yesterday. So the ice was ready to roll this morning. So we've had a pretty standard, it was a quieter day. There's not a lot of hustle and bustle since we were able to get ahead of the game. Now, we're the ice is open. We're going to let TV do their thing. We got to make sure nothing was damaged after morning skate, check all the glass and whatnot. And then we get ready for the game.
All right. So with that being said, what are some of the biggest operational challenges when it comes to hosting NHL games versus concerts, other events, and in this case, college hockey games?
Yeah, well, it's, I know. I mean, I know what the NBA has, and I'm learning now that I'm in a higher position in the arena. I'm learning more about other things. It's more of the air temperatures and the humidity and how the outside temperature really affects things, and especially, we're in the middle of a mass renovation right now, and we're battling the elements outside. It's a beautiful 80-degree day outside in DC today. The humidity's low, the dew point's low. We should be okay. But, it's incredible to see just how much the outside air elements, can affect, in a hockey setting, especially if you don't have the proper equipment, which we are in the process of getting during this renovation. So, we're going to be all thumbs up, in about a year or two. But, like I said, until, this renovation, which is, I don't know if you've seen renderings online, this arena is going to be absolutely beautiful and a state-of-the-art facility, and we're looking forward to hosting more events like the NCAA the Sweet. We did the Sweet 16 Elite 8 this year. Next year we actually have the Frozen Four, which is why I'm going out to Vegas. I know we'll get to that in a second. But yeah, so we're looking to really expand and do a lot of great things here. But it's like I said, it's a lot of the air because I know the basketball, like I said, basketball has their own humidity and air standards, and hockey obviously everything's got to be cold.
Yep.
You know, I love it. You know, you go to the game, like you didn't say it was going to be cold. Like, well, I didn't have to. It's a hockey rink. Like,
right. Can you share a memorable pressure moment where everything had to go perfectly?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm throwing you for a
off the
loop
top
with
of
some of these
top of my head
personal
here.
questions here.
You know, it's you know, a lot of the times, you know, I got probably the biggest thing I remember just being like, oh crap, on a big stage. It was game one back in 2012. Game one of the Stanley Cup final when I was with the New Jersey Devils. We were playing the Kings. We had home ice advantage. So game one was at our place, and we had a glass stanchion kind of scissor itself. It was a really crazy situation. So, you know, you get to the Stanley Cup final, you're on TV in single digits, nationally broadcast everywhere, and you know my phone's going off in my pocket, you know, vibrating. I'm like, oh my god, we're on TV right now. Like this isn't good. We got to hurry up here. But yeah, just that was just one of those things where it just seemed like you know, you got millions of people on TV watching you trying to do your job, and it gets a little hectic when it was something crazy. You know, it wasn't just a broken glass that just to replace real quick. I mean, this was it kind of scissored within itself, and that was pretty tough.
That it builds you character for future incidents for sure.
Yeah, I can get out there pretty quickly now and not be bothered. But that was a big stage in front of a lot of people. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely, but it sounds like you were prepared for it, so that was good. That was good. I know the Caps are not in the playoff. They're in the playoff hunt still, but like you said, you're on life support and it would take a miracle. But in previous seasons, you've been involved in some deep playoff runs. How does your team handle turnaround times when you're in a deep playoff run?
I'm sorry, what was the turnaround time? I'm sorry.
Like, how does your team, like everybody that works with you, handle turnaround times when you have a deep playoff run and you got to, you know, got back-to-back games and then you get a little break, stuff like that, I guess is what I'm.
Yeah, it is. So you go for, you know, let's just use last year for an example with the Capitals, because we had home ice advantage, which means we had games 1 and 2. So we got to spend, you know, we're starting earlier. In the series, obviously we're starting, you know, we were pretty much kicking off the weekend, and we got to get the NHL has their own advertisements. We got to get those in the ice. So that's probably about a 2-day process. And then, you know, the Caps, they usually don't skate here. Like they didn't skate here this morning on a game day, but they would like to take like a day or two to practice here, just to change up the scenery and get ready for a playoff run and practice in the building they'll be playing in. Then you got obviously a game one, and then you know the team that we're playing last year was Montreal. You know, Montreal, they need to practice as well, so they're practicing between games at the arena. Then you do game 2, and then you have a little bit of a lull because the team's traveling somewhere else. So it's a lot at once. Let's just say about 5-6 days straight of getting everything ready. You know, not to mention, you know, press areas and everything in the back. But then you have about a 3 or 4 day, you know, lull for travel for the team, and then playing games 3 and 4. In hockey, you can more times than not, you can expect the game 5. There's not as many sweeps anymore in series, and that's what makes the Stanley Cup playoff so great. So you always can just expect that there's going to be the next games coming to your arena, and then you just do it over again.
Yep, kind of put it on repeat and keep going. Now some questions about what's going on currently in the NHL. Who do you think the favorites are in each conference right now, and why?
So let's go to the East right now. So, you know, in the Metro, you got Carolina, got the comfortable lead. You got a crazy wild card chase right now. You got, you know, where actually, you know, even in the divisional side of the standings with the Islanders and Pittsburgh and Columbus and Philly, everything's just an absolute mess. But it just seems like Carolina's got a nice comfortable spot on top of the Metro. And then as you know, the Florida Panthers unfortunately aren't in it. So look for a gigantic run, if not a possible Stanley Cup win out of the Tampa Bay Lightning, because God forbid the Stanley Cup leave the state of Florida.
Right.
So I'm kind of
so much
we're looking for Tampa
now.
Bay, and then how about this, Ryan? How about the Buffalo Sabres? How great would it be if the Buffalo Sabres win a Stanley Cup before the Bills win the Super Bowl? I mean, I don't see anybody going through tables yet up there. I don't see a Sabres mafia, and I think they should start showing this team some love here, because they're on top of the division, tied for the lead, and they can do some damage if you know, they're hitting, if they hit on all cylinders at the right time, which they have been.
I never thought there would be a day in recent times where the Buffalo Sabres would be playing as good a hockey as they currently are right now. Because they've just always kind of been the doorstop of the Eastern Conference, at least in the last 20, 30 years or so. So good for the town of Buffalo. Like you just said, I hope they start realizing what's going on right now and can support their Sabres like they support the Buffalo Bills. That's for sure. And then over there on the western side of things.
Yeah, on the western side of things, the Pacific Division, I know everyone, if you go on social media and any like hockey, if you follow anything hockey on social media, they're kind of, I don't say borderline the NFC South of hockey right now, but the ongoing joke is that I'd say the rest of the Eastern Conference would actually be in the playoffs if they were in the Pacific Division. So it's getting right. But right now, Anaheim's up 4 points in that division. Edmonton and the Vegas Golden Knights, who just shocked everybody. They went on a little bit of a skid. They fired their coach and they got Torts running the bench right now. So insert foot here and have the team bend over, and Torts is going to stick it in and try to right the ship here. So those three teams are pretty much, it looks like they're kind of set in the Pacific. But it just, the same conversation we had earlier in the year when I was on for the Olympics, and it's the same conversation we had last year, Ryan. It's the Central Division is the class of the league. The Colorado Avalanche, the Dallas Stars, the Minnesota Wild, those three teams, I think they're 1, 2, and maybe 4, I think, in the league overall. And it's just unfortunate that they're in the same division, and the playoff means they got to beat up on each other first before they can even get to the Western Conference final. But, Colorado's still the class of the league. Dallas gave them a run for their money, but Colorado's pulling away again. And even in the bottom tier in the wild card right now, we're sitting 2 central teams with Utah and Nashville.
These expansion teams always try to find a way to
chasing there, but like I said, it just looks like the Central Division is going to be the tough out here.
Yeah, absolutely. And the Utah Mammoth, I don't know what it is with these expansion teams, but they seem to make the playoffs. And it's not set in stone by any means yet, but if the way it is now, these expansion teams always seem to make the playoffs in their first season. And, getting back to those Vegas Knights, had won a few Stanley Cups on the way as well. So it's just wild how you see these expansion teams have so much success early on. I know they're first in the wild card right now.
Yeah, first in the wild card. They did play last year, but even before that, I wouldn't say it's a true expansion team. They were, I know the Arizona Coyotes weren't really much of anything when they existed 2-3 years ago, but, they had a solid squad, and they got some good players there. I know they had some Team USA guys on their roster. So Utah's doing their thing.
Absolutely. One NHL team that's better than people think right now, who would you say that is?
Oh, one NHL team. Yeah, let's go. I said, I guess the Flyers, I guess, is the correct answer right this, as much as it kills me to say, because I feel like I've worked for half the Metropolitan Division at the moment, except the one team I haven't worked for is Philly. So it's kind of just like I'm rooting against them. But it just, if you look at, you look through the standings closely and you see their last 10 games, in the standings, the Flyers are 8-1-1. And they are making a serious push right now, and they just seem to be playing the best hockey at the moment, even more so record-wise than Colorado. Even though Colorado put up 9 goals on poor Calgary last night, but I'll give this to the Flyers at the moment, and we just hopefully we got to weather the storm through them and try to sneak in 2 points in regulation out of them tonight.
Yeah, big, like you said, huge game for both teams coming up tonight. Philadelphia just a couple points back of that last wild card spot. And then kind of some other hockey questions real quick, and then we'll finish with the Frozen Four. What's the hardest building to play on the road in the NHL, in your opinion?
I don't really travel all that much, but from what I hear, Nashville is very, very loud. I'll throw the Nashville. I'll give them some credit here. The Nashville Predators, just from watching them on TV, and they have chants yelling at the other team's goalie every time they let up a goal. And it's a great atmosphere from what I hear down in Nashville, not just in the arena but outside it, with all in the area of where the arena is located in Nashville. It's right in the thick of everything, country music and bars and whatever else is down there. I still have yet to visit there, but the Nashville Predators have a really good home ice advantage, and especially wearing those yellow jerseys are just very sore on the eyes. I can't imagine playing them.
Yeah, they stand out. That's for sure. I was going to ask you the loudest moment you've experienced in arena, but I think I know that answer. Probably when Ovi broke the record last year. Is that fair?
Yeah, that's the obvious one. That was he just actually scored his 1,000th goal here. We actually weren't. He tied the record here. Actually, it'll be will be a year ago on the 4th. He did it April 4th, and that's when he had 2 goals. If he would have had the hat trick to set the record, that would have been something good. But he passed up on the empty netter. He let Ryan Leonard had his first NHL goal. But yeah, the place was crazy for that. Honestly, you know what? The years on with the Islanders and on Long Island, and I never understood why everybody absolutely loved or hated the Nassau Coliseum, but working there and actually being a part of it, buzzer to buzzer, like for an Islanders game, I understood it now that I've had a lot of experience there with the 80 some odd games that I worked there. That building was loud, and probably the loudest thing I think I've ever heard was John Tavares's return to Long Island in a Maple Leafs jersey, and it was not loud in a positive way.
Yeah.
We'll fast forward later in that season when Anthony Beauvillier closed out Nassau Coliseum with the last goal ever in the building, forcing Game 7 against Tampa in that playoff run. But man, that was a lot of booze for Mr. Tavares.
I bet you've experienced some pretty exciting moments in NHL history, that's for sure. All right, Al, we'll finish with this. Kind of update us what's going on right now in the Frozen Four. For those of you who don't know what the Frozen Four is, it's basically college hockey's version of the NCAA March Madness tournament.
Yeah, it's a 16-team tournament. It was on this weekend in the midst of there was this weekend. I'll miss with the NCAA men's and women's tournament. So I still have my second TV set up from football. So I was able to kind of peek in here from time to time. Absolutely. So what they do is 16 teams. They take the top 4 ranked teams in the nation, and then they kind of, give them their own bracket, and then they kind of fill out the rest with at-large bids, I guess you want to put it that way. So probably the biggest game of the weekend, or the craziest game, very, very Duke UConn-esque, was actually Wisconsin. Had a huge comeback win. They beat the number 3 team in the nation, Michigan State. So Michigan State was up 3-1 with 5 minutes left in the third. 2 goals later, we're going into overtime, and then 40 seconds into overtime, Wisconsin wins and completes the comeback. So that was an absolutely fantastic, jaw-dropping, very what happened with Duke and UConn this weekend in men's basketball. That was pretty much the hockey sense in the same thing. So Wisconsin advanced. The number 1 team in the nation, Michigan, they won out their bracket. They survived a gaming Minnesota Duluth team 4-3 in that regional final. And then the 2 teams that kind of stick out, if you want to look at score wise or how they won and advanced through their bracket. Denver won their bracket. They won their first game against Cornell 5-0, and then they beat the number 4 ranked team, Western Michigan, 6-2. So Denver unloaded on the offense and didn't allow much. And then the number 2 team in the nation, North Dakota, they actually threw up double goose eggs. They went complete U.S. women's hockey team, not allowing any goals, with a 3-0 win over Merrimack, and then a 5-0 win over Quinnipiac. So we have Wisconsin and Denver going with number 2 North Dakota and number 1 Michigan out in Las Vegas this weekend.
You said you're heading out there?
I'm sorry, what's that?
You said you were heading out there?
Yeah, so the cool thing is I was asked to go out there. What the NCAA does is for arenas who are hosting the event the following year, they bring them out just to kind of get a glimpse, and we have a meeting about what to expect for the next year. So we Capital One Arena, we are hosting the Frozen Four next year, the championships. So I'm flying out to Las Vegas, and just so happy it happened that I have a connection out there. I'm going to have a little fun with the ice and help out build the ice and do a little work while I'm out there as well. So I'm going to be a part of it. I'm looking forward to it. So I'm going to be out in Las Vegas. I leave actually Easter Sunday. Unfortunately, got to sacrifice a holiday for this, but I'll be off my wife will get me off the couch, hopefully sleeping off the couch in a couple days before I leave.
You'll be fine. You'll be fine. 2 more questions and then we'll let you go. Who wins?
Who wins the NCAA? See, if you look at North Dakota, that's offense with fantastic defense and fantastic goaltending.
Absolutely.
So I'm going to go, like I said, I don't have any dogs in this fight. Like I said, I was half paying attention because everything that was going on with basketball, and I was trying to have fun with that with my wife. It was a crazy weekend. But if you look at what North Dakota's doing, you score 8 goals, you don't allow it. I mean, even Denver, they scored 11 goals, only allowed 2.
Yep.
That's just an even better plus minus. But I look for those 2 teams. I'll take North Dakota. Why not? I think that's where Zach Parisi went, I believe. Zach's my guy, so we'll go with the Fighting Sioux on this one.
Absolutely. North Dakota Fighting Sioux for the win. All right, final question. More obviously, is college playoff hockey as exciting as NHL playoff hockey, or would you say it's maybe a smidge more exciting?
It is. It's just like with the college basketball. It's one and done. I mean, it's not the craziness of 64 or 68 teams, but like I said, that Wisconsin game against coming back to win Michigan State, there are like Cinderella teams. There are crazy endings where, you know, like a casual fan, well, I'm just going to watch the last 5 minutes, and then all of a sudden you're just like, damn, I can't believe I just watched that. That was incredible.
Yep.
So yeah, it's just the fact that it's a one and done situation, just like the football play. Anything that's one and done is incredible. Because, you know, guys are fighting for their lives, and these are kids. These are guys that, you know, just like the NCAA tournament, let's just say, you know, 90 whatever % of them aren't going to get to the show. They're not going to make it to the NHL. So this is the best thing that they have, you know, to last them a lifetime. And you see it. They have the drive, they have the dedication, and, you know, it's just like you look at both teams after that Wisconsin-Michigan State game, and it's just like, okay, you see the jubilation, but then they show the camera on the other side, and you're like, man, these kids have to live with this for the rest of their lives.
Somebody's heartbroken and somebody's very excited. That's the cost of playing in these particular types of games. Only one team can win, only one team can lose. Al, we appreciate your time as always. Good luck with the game tonight. Hope the Caps can get the dub for you. Appreciate you coming on as we always do. Yeah, appreciate having me on, Ryan. I'll talk to you guys soon. Sounds good. Take care. Bye. Bye. Nothing like a true northerner with a great northern accent to talk a little bit about NHL and college hockey. Coach, I know real quick before we get going out of here, I'm going to finish with the local games and then a couple of sponsors. I know you wanted to give a shout out to one of our sponsors. Yeah, for sure. Went in about a month ago into Golf Plus and got mine and my wife's putters regripped, and just had an awesome experience. Alan out there was awesome, and the store's looking fantastic. They got the booths in there for you know, some indoor hitting and testing, whatever you need to do. So, yeah, shout out to Alan and Golf Plus. Awesome. Appreciate that. Appreciate you patronizing Golf Plus as well. Real quick before we go, talk about some of the local games in the area tonight. We got some good ones on the Diamonds. Got Childs and Arnold. That is at Arnold in girls softball. Childs is 12-2. Arnold is 8-7. On the baseball side of things, we got Houston Academy. They're 10-8. I'm sure they're traveling here for spring break. They're playing the Bay Tornadoes, who are 10-6. That'll be over there at Bay. Again, on softball, you got Bay and Vernon. That'll be at Vernon. Bay's trying to get their first win of the season. Also in softball, Bozeman, who won that Bay County tournament that we talked about last week, 14-3, traveling over to Wewa Hitchcock, who's 10-4. That should be a great game. I still got my money on Bozeman, though. Tiff County is playing North Bay Haven Academy in varsity baseball. Softball, you got Poplar Springs traveling to Rutherford, and then Rutherford is traveling to Bozeman. Bozeman is 14-4 in varsity baseball. So get out and support these young youth athletes. I know the flag football is rocking and rolling as well. I know Arnold had a big win last week over Pensacola. I believe it was a 60-0 in that one. Madison Humphrey, I believe, threw 5 touchdown passes in that game. And Jerica Hughes, who was our athlete of the week a couple weeks ago, had a punt return as well. And then Emma Krelling as well was doing some punt returns too. She's just a force out there in the flag football world. I love the girls flag football so much. Oh yeah, just such a great opportunity for them to compete in a different sport 100%. Than the usual stuff. So, I want to talk about Firefly again. Unforgettable experience right here on Florida's Gulf Coast. Firefly in Panama City Beach, where casual elegance meets world-class cuisine. Whether you're celebrating a special night out or just want phenomenal food with a seaside vibe, Firefly certainly delivers. From award-winning fresh Gulf seafood and perfectly seared steaks to a world-class sushi bar and signature cocktails, every dish is crafted with passion and flair. Step inside and you'll find an atmosphere that's warm, welcoming, and refined. Ideal for date night, celebration, or just simply savoring an evening with friends. With an ever-evolving menu and dedicated service staff, Firefly is more than dinner. It's an experience. Make your reservation today and taste why Firefly is one of the top dining destinations in Northwest Florida. Visit their menu online, enjoy fresh coastal favorites, and become part of the tradition. Firefly, located in the shops of Edgewater. Book now at fireflypcb.com and dine with distinction. Before we finish up, we've got to talk about one of our newest sponsors on the Inside Drive podcast. That is the Back Nine in Panama City Beach. If you love golf, this place is unreal. They've got state-of-the-art golf simulators where you can play some of the most iconic courses in the world and get real-time data on your swing. The best part, They're open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, so you can grind on your game anytime you want. Even better, check out their memberships. Unlimited tee times, 24-hour access, bring your buddies, plus discounts on merch and events. Founding memberships are currently on sale, which include lifetime discounts. Rain or shine, day or night, the Back Nine is the spot to play. Go find the Back Nine PCB on Facebook or head to theback9golf.com/Panama City Beach, Florida, and book your bay today. Soft opening is scheduled for April 6th. We'll keep you updated on when that officially becomes official. They're located in the Magnolia Plaza off of Navy Boulevard next to Publix. Join now and be a part of the new way to play golf. Don't forget to like, subscribe, comment on YouTube. Feel free to do that on Facebook as well. And, of course, all the major podcast sites, the Inside Drive podcast is there. So make sure you get notifications when our podcasts go live. Coach, appreciate you coming in one more time. Before we get out of here, tell everybody about Clutch Athletics.
Yeah, for sure. If you're looking to get that leg up, come see me. We have actually Thursday evenings right now. I have something open up a little window. So if you want to get like your team in or a small group and just have a private, message us on Facebook, on Instagram, and we can get with you on details and things like that. So a lot of ways to kind of get in there, whether it's through class, whether it's through a private. We can get you to that next level in whatever sport that you got going on.
Don't wait. Reach out to Clutch Athletics today. Get your son or daughter that leg up that they certainly need, especially if they're in 8th grade going into high school. This was episode 56 of the Inside Drive podcast. Our next episode coming up on Thursday. Jay and David Hayes will be in studio with me again one more time. I hope you guys have a great rest of your Tuesday. Go out and watch some local sports. Talk to you on Thursday.